Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in New Vienna, Iowa. That means it's time for another live stream, and it is Friday, December 4th, 2020. Hopefully, you guys are doing well today. It is an absolutely beautiful day here in Iowa. Temperatures are, I think they're technically seasonable, but it feels a lot warmer than it's been the past couple of days. So we are enjoying the weather. Hopefully, you guys are doing well too. First, I want to say hi to everyone listening on the podcast. I said that like super Midwestern. Listen on the podcast version. We're listening on the podcast version. Hopefully, having a good run. And then everyone watching on YouTube after the fact, welcome. Now let's see who's here today. All right, we've got Kevin Bickerton says hi, Kofuzi. What's going on, Kevin? And Jeff Elliott's going to be here at least for a little while. Good to see you while you are here, Jeff. Philip Bourne is here. Happy Friday. Nice. And he's also saying in the DGR Facebook group, there's a post about Saucony endorphin trails rumored for June 2021. Sounds like an Insta buy to me. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably pick it up. I'm gonna get to this shift. I think I'm gonna put some miles in it. Maybe not next week, but maybe the week after that. I'd like to kind of close out the Float Ride Grow. Run some more miles in that, and then log some more miles in the Triumph 18 as well. I think maybe when I'm done with that, then I'll get to this shift, or maybe I'll do both at the same time. I'm not sure, but it's certainly interesting. Very peculiar. JC says, howdy, folks. Happy weekend. Awesome. Jana says, hi, everyone. Did a post-pizza strength training today? Nice. Listening to my favorite Guilty Pleasure songs, and the pizza was unplanned. A terrible idea. I mean, but was it that terrible, though? There was pizza involved. Just got some coffee in here today. Chris Dyke says, happy Friday, folks. About to make my customary breakfast sandwich for the stream. That sounds nice. I love breakfast sandwiches. I can eat breakfast every meal for sure. Chris Yao says, happy Friday, friends. Awesome. Martha says, TGIF, even though every day in my life since last March 2nd is more or less the same. Very funny, Martha. But, TGIF for sure. Roadrunner Reviews is here. Says, hi, all. What's going on? Roadrunner Reviews, I was just looking at your comment on the top 5 speed shoes. You put the Atreyu Voyager in your top 5. It's an interesting choice. I want to like that shoe more than I think I do. I think I do need to spend a little bit more time in it, but it just seems like there's not enough for me. Maybe I'm getting a little bit soft in my old age, but I just feel like it seems not minimal, but it's a very close to the ground feel for me. And I oftentimes feel like I don't know if this shoe has enough underfoot for me, but I do love the shoe. But I don't know if I love like the hype and the brand and like the design of it. And it's just, I don't know. So I'm always on the fence on that shoe. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. Sometimes I love it. Sometimes I'm like ambivalent about it. All right. Let's see. Frank Lahuder says, why do you think that endurance runners are prone to being pre-diabetic? Bad diet? Is it an adaptation? I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know that was a thing. That's interesting. Terrence Hui says, no work meeting today. Hello, Cohen Company. Awesome. Nice. That's cool. My wife was telling me that her company recently instituted a policy. I forget what it was called. It had a catchy name, a name that a marketer would make up. And it was the idea that you're supposed to try and avoid multi-person meetings and regularly scheduled meetings on Friday afternoons. Just so that way people can like take care of their stuff, do what they need to do, focus on what they need to get done before the weekend, and so that they're not like taking work home on the weekends and stuff too. But I think it was a really cool idea. But yeah, I also feel like, at a certain level, like those times when like everyone else is like checked out for the week, that's when like a lot of work gets done. And so I also feel like that could hamper a lot of like really high functioning groups' way of working. But I suppose those high functioning groups are probably just going to do what they're going to do anyway. But Terrence, I'm glad that you're here today. All right. Jeff Elliott says, if I can manage to get on the trail enough to wear my speed goats, I was thinking about the Torrent 2 as a replacement. I love the speed, but I don't think it's what I'm looking for on the trail. I got to say, it's a shoe that I really enjoy. It was a surprise to me because I never tried the Torrent 1, and the Torrents 2s got sent to me, I think. I don't think I bought those. I think those got sent to me, and I was like, okay, I don't know what these are. I'll try them. And I just was really just impressed with it, just because I don't, I'm not a mountain goat. I'm not climbing up huge elevations. I'm like in state parks, so nothing that I do is going to be super intense. And for that, like those kinds of shoes are like just the right amount of trail for me. All right, Jack Hash, 1975 says, "Woof, glad the weekend is here. Woohoo, awesome. I like where you're going with that." Simon N says, "Slightly late, but I'm here. No worries. Good to see ya." CV76 says, "Yo, what's going on?" And Ryan Pauly says, "Yo, what's going on?" Awesome. Runner Dre got rained on today. Says, "Just got back from a rainy run. Ooh. Hope it's not too cold where you are." I'm trying to look at that profile pic. I can't tell from there. David Prabhu's here again. Good to see you. And Patrick Fong. Awesome. Yeah, all right. Mark Chankoko's here. Good to see you. Gulshan Paul, Brad James. Nice. Good to see everybody. CV76 says running shoe rumors. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. People have been asking me, like, what am I looking forward to for 2021? And we talked about it the other day in the live stream, where I just don't know that much about what's actually coming. I can give you like my wish list of things, of things that I'd like to see, but it's like, I think it's weird to kind of give a wish list for like a year that's already been planned out, So like, that's why I'm like hesitant to do that. But I suppose there's value and there's just fun in that as well. Philip says, regarding the endorphin shift, it's a great shoe. The endorphin shift and the Nike Trail 2 are my favorites for 2020. Interesting. Nice. I'm thinking about, I've been telling you guys how much I get sucked into Instagram Reels. I go there for the running reels. I love it. Everything from like, it doesn't even have to be a pro, just someone working hard. Because you can tell when someone's working hard when they're running. Even if they're not fast, you can tell when they're pushing. And I just like to watch that, whether it's no music, set to music, multiple edits. Like sometimes people put like 3 or 4 clips in their 30 seconds of reels, Either way, I love that. I go for that. And then I get sucked into it. And eventually, like 15 minutes later, I'm watching a snowboard video or like a child skateboarder, and then you get into those people that dance like they're robots. That kind of gets me sucked in for a long time too. But my whole point of that is one of the videos I saw the other day was like, I felt like they were spoofing me a little bit. I know they clearly weren't, but I felt like they were spoofing me because it was 2 women running in the woods through a giant puddle. Like they ended up like knee deep into this giant puddle, and they both had Peg Trail Gore-Texes on. And there was a dog running with them too. So I'm like, you got the dog, you got getting wet in a giant puddle. I was like, oh man, it was super slow motion too. So I was like, this is a great video. So I watched it like 8 times in a row. But I was like, oh, that reminds me. I want to pick up some of those Peg Trail 2 Gore-Tex. I have a feeling, I feel like it's going to be a really heavy shoe though. I don't remember what the ounces are on it, but we'll see. I have a feeling I'm going to really like that one. I think I'm going to like it more than, I don't know if I'm going to get the Pegasus Shield this year. Because I wasn't a huge fan of it last year. I like the Peg Trails much more. So I think that's might be where I go. Mike P says, hi there, new subscriber from Minnesota. Awesome, Mike. Good to see you. Love the helmet there. For a second, I thought you had a foam dome on this little picture. That would have been also awesome. But I like your helmet. All right. Ooh, Nuetra says, just finished installing some snow tires, which is a sort of cross training. Wow. Yeah, I've never done that before. I don't think I've ever put snow tires on a car, and nor would I ever venture to do it by myself. I would never do that by myself because I'd be sure that I'm sure I messed up putting these bolts back on the wrong way. And I just wouldn't trust putting my family in a vehicle with wheels that were bolted on by me. But that, for whatever reason, that reminds me of the video I watched from Seth today where he's running in those weird snowshoe racer things. Those like big plastic, I think they're plastic or whatever they're made out of, carbon fiber, like sleds that he's running on. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. He's getting like super intense. Ooh, Alex Chaparena says having a little albondigas for lunch. That sounds delicious. You know what I miss? Like really good Mexican food. There isn't real like ethnic food out here in Iowa. So fortunately, I like American food a lot. And I also love American Chinese food. So we've had that. So like that works out. But like real food, not that those aren't real foods. They're valid and real foods. But like there's some things that I'm just haven't been getting lately in terms of food, and I'm starting to miss it. It took me 6 months, 5 months. Runner Dre says, I ran in endorphin speed today while it was raining. Felt a little slippery when running downhill. Anyone else experienced that? I'm planning on running them tomorrow. So I think we're going to have good weather. I've run on them on trail. Well, not trail, like buffed out, like dirt, like access roads, crushed limestone. I think I've run into them in some lightly wet conditions today. And I don't think I've ever had any issues with it. But, it just all... I might have just gotten lucky those 2 days. So we'll see. Here's the thing, though. So I've been planning all week that tomorrow on Saturday I was going to do a workout in the endorphin speeds, because I want to do the video coming up that I want to do is Alpha 5 versus the endorphin speed. I think that's a pretty important video for me to make. But guess what just came today? My Adios Pro. So now I really want to run in those. But I'll run in them next week. But I'm like, but Adios Pro versus Alpha 5 is a good video to make. But I'll just make that video next week. So I think that's what I'll do. But I do want to get into the endorphin speed. I'm at 70 miles in them right now. I was looking at my mileage logs. So after tomorrow, I'll be at 83. So closing in on 100 on it. So I'm feeling good about that. Scotty B says, hey all, TGIF rest day, just in from the workshop. Got my beverage, a Gatorade orange, and a snack, oatmeal. Do those go together? I'm not sure if that does. Terrell Ford says, yo, recently got all 6 of my kids running a 5K a day and loving it. Wow, your family's putting in, so you got 6 kids and yourself putting in 5Ks. So that's 35 Ks a day in your household running. I mean, I don't know if all of them still live at home, but still, in your family, that's 35 Ks a day. Boom. That's nice. Wow. Good work. I think that we need to get a cowbell for that. Terrell, I don't know how you do it, man. That's awesome. All right. Jody from Australia saying TJF was so yesterday. Time zone jokes. I love it. Benoit says, didn't expect the Evo Ride in the top 5, but it's a happy surprise. I mean, here's the thing that I'm not sure about. The video that I didn't make this year was Evo Ride versus SL20. I'm not sure. I think it'd actually be pretty close. And I haven't run in the Evo Ride probably in about 5 months. So I'm going off of memory when putting it in the top 5. I think it belongs there because I remember how much I loved running in that shoe. But then again, a lot happened since the Evo Ride came out. So I'm I'm not sure. But here's how I balance it out. Adidas got the Boston 9 in the top 5. So I was like, if they don't get 2 in the top 5, that's okay. But if it's close, to the extent it's close, we'll put the Evo Ride in there too. But that was a good shoe. It took me a minute to figure out. And I definitely had some help. People were telling me, no. You got this all wrong. You got to try running faster in it. And so that definitely helped me out. I don't know why. I got a bad read on it. That usually doesn't happen to me, but I was very glad to accept some help on that, and then I ended up loving it. But as I was looking back at the footage, I do remember that the upper was a little bit weird. I get this weird puckering at the front of right by the toes. There was just too much material up there, and I was just kind of doing a weird thing. Hopefully that gets fixed for Evo Ride 2. I've seen pictures of that, haven't I? I'm trying to think. I thought I did. I thought there's images of that floating around. John, talking about pizza, says, I'm used to making the mistake of eating pizza before training. I at least tried to put some time between finishing the pizza and starting the workout. Oh, I've been there before. I've definitely done that. Usually on Fridays is the day where I do that as well. Yeah. My pizza consumption has gone down so much since being here in Iowa. It's gone down a lot. I mean, my Happy Joe's consumption has gone way up, which is, nice, but it doesn't completely make up for it. So, but yeah, I like pizza. I need more of it. I think I need to have more pizza in my life right now. All right. Again, Paul Turner says, what's going on? Love your stuff. What's going on again? Thanks so much for tuning in. Thank you. Oh, my mom's here. Hi, from New Jersey. I'm way far behind on the comments. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Sorry, guys. Shannon says, you had me laughing with your heat-up gloves. My husband got me those last winter. I only wore them once. We'll give them another chance. I look like a transformer with those huge things. I kind of like that about them. I was running in them. I was looking at my footage of myself running in them And like as I'm running, you like mine have like a little LED on the outside of it here that lets you know like that it's on and what temperature level it's on. And like the camera in the dark was like picking it up. And I was just like, that like that looks really funny, and I kind of like it. I mean, really, I just want like a Tron suit to be able to run in that, like one that glows in like neon green or like neon blue, with light trails behind it. Like I would love that. I would totally rock that. But yeah. So I think it's funny. It's definitely unusual, for sure, and it's a weird thing to run in heated gloves. A couple of years ago, I'd been like, that's unnecessary. You don't need to do that. But now I'm just like, I don't care. I want warm hands. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to have warm hands. All right. Scotty B says, Kofuzi, I saw your speed video and Andy's or FOD runner's speed video. Are there advantages doing speed work in a speed shoe and racing in a different shoe, or doing both in the same shoe? I don't think that there's necessarily advantages to it. So there's a couple of reasons why you might, because some people don't like training in a carbon fiber plate regularly. And I think that, I don't know if there's any like solid research out there that says it's bad, but some people just only like to use the carbon fiber plates really sparingly. And I mean, they're still really expensive, but they used to be really expensive and hard to get. So people wanted to kind of like save them. So that was one thing. The other difference, though, is that like speed shoes are kind of designed to be a little bit more durable. So I would still expect to get about 300 miles out of a speed shoe, maybe 250 on the lower end. Whereas a racing shoe, like if I don't get 150 miles out of it, I'm kind of okay. But the other thing that I might do with it, because like, and here's the thing is, the things are designed for performance first, and durability is kind of like a secondary consideration. Because the idea is get to the finish line as fast as possible, kind of like spare no expenses. If it's a little uncomfortable, fine, but it's working, go with it, that kind of thing. So that's why, like, I don't mind if it doesn't last quite as long. And if like the dollars per mile is high, I'm okay with that. But the other thing to do with it, and what a lot of people do, and I've done with previous like Vaporflies that I've owned, is I'll run with them until about like, once I hit like the 125 mile mark, I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to race another marathon in these shoes at this point. So then I'll use those as my speed shoes. So that's another way you kind of like extend like I don't want to say investment, but extend the purchase of those Vaporflies and make them last a little bit longer for you, because they're still good shoes to run and you can still train in them. I think that's fine. But you might not necessarily want to race in them because they won't be like as fresh as like a newer pair of Vaporfly. So that's one of the things I can do with a race shoe and turn it into a training shoe. And then the speed shoe might be a little bit heavier again, so you might not want to race in it. Again, you might want to shave like an ounce, 2 ounces at the feet, and get that racing shoe. So that's kind of like the thinking behind it. I don't think it's bad or good, or just it depends. I'm kind of thinking like 2020 was the year where like I was really going to test the idea that like, there's a benefit to running in like carbon racers, but like, is there a huge benefit really for like a normal person to run in a marathon in like the Boston 9 versus like, the Adios Pro to compare to Adidas shoes, So like, that's one of the things where I'm like, maybe the benefits for normal people are more psychological than they are physical. I'm not sure. I'm going on a pendulum. I'm thinking like, I used to think like, oh man, these things are legit. You totally get so much benefit from them. And now I'm like, do you? So I'm not sure. I go back. I kind of go back and forth. I have a lot of testing that I'm going to be doing. So we'll see. All right. Matt 852 says, I used to get pizza from Paul Revere's Pizza in Iowa. I think they had a Guinness record at some point for the biggest or heaviest pizza. Interesting. I don't know. I'm not familiar with Paul Revere Pizza. I'll have to look for that. All right. Tony says, Happy Joe. Is it a Sloppy Joe? No, Happy Joe's is a pizza franchise, a very, very local pizza franchise that serves up very strange pizza concoctions that Iowans think are totally normal. Like a taco pizza, which is a pizza with like taco meat, like taco hamburger meat, crushed Doritos, and shredded lettuce on top, served with little side packets of sour cream. Chicken bacon ranch is another very popular pizza around here. It also comes with lettuce on top, chicken and bacon on it, and ranch dressing on the pizza. Like as if it's a sauce. It's really crazy. I think it's probably like 30% saturated fat, but it's been years since I've eaten one, but when I did eat one, it was quite tasty. So they have really weird things, and everyone thinks, like everyone in Iowa, they just think that everywhere in the U.S. has all these things, and they just totally don't, and it's really amazing. All right, Will Willing says, I have a new pair of Nike Zoom Fly 3. I got it at a bargain price. Is there enough differences in the Rocket X to warrant purchasing the Rocket X? The Rocket X is going to be a lot lighter. It's going to feel a lot lighter as well than the Zoom Fly 3. And I think the feeling is a lot different. And Andy's the one that, speaking of FOD runner, is the one that kind of pointed it out when he talked about the Rocket X in his video. I don't know if you've seen that one, where he kind of like laid out this idea that there's two types of carbon plate shoes. One that's like, you feel it and it's like, boom, you feel like that power. The other is it just helps you roll right through the gait cycle, and it's just a lot of smoothness through it. I think the epitome of like the smooth carbon fiber plate is like the Carbon X, where it's like, is it in there? I'm not sure if it's in there. And is this ProFly X foam soft? Actually, it's not, but it's a really smooth running experience. So all of it's working together almost like invisibly to you. The opposite end of that spectrum would be like a Vaporfly Next Percent or like an Alpha Fly, where it's like you're feeling all carbon. I mean, you feel the Zoom X too, but like you feel a lot of that carbon in there. And it's like a push. The Zoom Fly 3 is kind of like that too. Like as you're like pushing off on your stride, you feel it like pushing with you. And it's a really nice feeling, I think. But they're two very different shoes. So I would think that like, I don't know that they necessarily go together. Like I wouldn't think of price as whether they go together. I would think of it as like, what kind of racing experience are you looking for? So if you're looking for like another Zoom Fly type of feel, the Rocket X, I don't think is it. It's a little bit more so than the Carbon X was, for example. Like the Carbon Rocket, that had a really strong carbon plate feel, but it had 1 millimeter heel drop, and it had a decent amount of stack height, but the ProFly midsole foam wasn't that soft. So it was hard on your feet. But yeah, I'm not sure that the Rocket X and the Zoom Fly 3 really go together. That's kind of like a very long way of saying that. Sorry. But I could be wrong. I mean, but you might appreciate that, for your racing. So it just kind of depends on preferences. Chris Rochelle says, yo, anywhere on the second printing of the past project shirts? I haven't heard anything yet. Last I heard, they were gonna be available like right around Christmas time. So it, I would not anticipate that you could get it for like a Christmas gift in time for that. But it should be right around that time. So that's the last I heard. I'll let you guys know if there's any new updates on it. All right, let's see. Scroll down to the bottom a little bit. Sam Matassa says, do you have any breathing tips? No matter how slow I go, I can't seem to sustain a heart rate under 160 beats per minute. Well, I mean, yeah. So I generally have a couple of different breathing patterns that I will go through depending on like my level of exertion. And I generally find that like, the breathing, for me, the way to optimize kind of like heart rate for effort is to have a breathing pattern that kind of just is natural for that level of effort. And so like, like for example, if I was running really hard, if I tried to breathe at an artificially like slow pace, it would make my heart rate even higher, that kind of thing. So whenever it's dissonant, whenever it's off, that's when the heart rate tends to get a little bit higher. But when I'm breathing at what my body seems to like, then I feel like the heart rate kind of like gets to a little bit lower of a level, or a more like consistent level. And so on my slowest paces, I usually go into, and I go in with the nose, out two with the mouth, and like, so left, right. So in, out. So that's how I might do it. As I pick it up faster, I might go into and then out one. So in, out, in, out, in, out. And if I can, I'll go, nose in, mouth out. And then a lot of times I'll just alternate between those two. Most of my easy runs are mostly just in and out, two up, two down. Sometimes I go 2 and 1. And then when I'm running hard, it's, I have a rhythm where I go in, out, so through the nose, out through the mouth, or sometimes I'm just completely mouth breathing. And then, but what I do is either every 4 of those, like in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. I try to take a really deep breath, make sure I'm really pulling air all the way down to the bottom of the lungs, make sure that the diaphragm is pulling on it. So I'll just try to do that regularly, but that's like race pace, like when I'm like really dying at the end of a hard effort. So I don't do that terribly often, but usually it's that 2 in, 1 out. So that's kind of some of the things that I use. Yeah. Chris Yao says, who has time to breathe while running? Now I know why my HR is so jacked. Been holding my breath. I mean, some people do. I mean, not literally the entire time, but I do remember like in high school, there was one runner I used to run. I mean, this is when we were kids, but like everyone on the team would yell at him to breathe. He was a 200-meter runner in indoor. And we would just be like, breathe, because we would see him and he was holding his breath, like, or trying to hold his breath the entire time. It was pretty funny to watch. But he's pretty good. And we were just like, Anthony, breathe. And he'd be like, okay. And he would like come out of a trance and he'd have to breathe. It was pretty funny. Sean Marshall says, I pay more attention to breathing while I eat. Do you really? I've never thought of that, actually. Wow. Awesome. All right. James Baker says, evening all. What's going on, James? All right. Jeff Elliott says, I try to breathe through my nose 3-3 at a very slow pace, and it stresses me out pretty quickly. Then I go to mouth only 3-3, then faster is 2-2, and late in intervals during my kick 1-1. Yeah, once I saw Andy made a video about this. This was years ago, I think, at this point. And Andy, I don't know if it's because he's like a larger human than I am. He's tall, much taller than me. And so like he was saying that he goes 4 and 4 and he does it all nose breathing. I don't know if he still does that. I'm going to ask him that. If he still, I'm going to be able to go find that video and comment on it like now in 2020 and ask him if he still does it. But he was telling me like his conversational paced videos, he just goes in for 4 and out for 4. I have a pretty low resting heart rate. I think my resting heart rate's like 52, 53 right now these days. But even that, I can't like, I just feel like that's a lot of hard breathing. I can't do that. So I don't know. Corey Allen says, I have terrible rainouts to the point that my hands go numb at anything less than 45 degrees. Oh, I found only mittens work. Anyone try white paws run mitts? I've not tried that, but I will. I'll look at that. White paws run mitts. Cool. That's interesting about the rainouts. My hands, it's weird to say that, like, I feel like I have a pretty strong aerobic system and I got a relatively low, or my resting heart rate has been getting much lower the last couple of, like, this last year. But to also still think that I have really bad circulation, like my hands just get so cold all the time and they stay cold. It's kind of a weird thing to think about. Like you would think that, like, I don't know, at some point, can't the body make more like arteries or arterioles and capillaries? I just don't understand it. But my hands are always cold, and my feet are always cold too. But yeah, I'll look at the white paws run mitts. I'll have to look at that. Yeah, James Baker was saying, I don't really think about breathing while running. I really should do, though, as it might help. Yeah, that seems to be like the next thing that everyone's talking about. I don't know if it's just like a phase that everyone's going to go through. I'm holding on to my coffee cup, by the way, in case you're wondering like what I'm doing over here. It just seems to be comfortable to kind of rest my arm this way today. But I know like Floris German is like experimenting with nose only breathing. And like for a while I was just, how the YouTube algorithm works. I watched a couple of like no mouth breathing videos, and then all I was getting was nose breathing or no mouth breathing videos for a while. And I was like, oh, everyone in the world must be trying this. But I was like, no. That's the YouTube algorithm just making me think that. But the premise is interesting. But I'm just like, I'm a weird enough runner. I can't also add in like no mouth breathing too. I think I would lose people. I think I'd lose myself that way. Bert says he does 4-4 when trying to control heart rate. See, if I do 4-4 breathing when I'm running, Maybe this is just a signal or like a symptom that my aerobic system isn't as strong as it could be. If I do 4-4 breathing while running, like my heart rate will spike. It'll just go up much higher than it normally would if I just did like what felt comfortable for breathing. But maybe that's part of the training. That's something I need to do. I don't know. Yeah, Sean says, for real though, at high paces, I'm definitely focused on breathing. Actually, that is likely my biggest concern. I think for me at like at fast paces, the thing that I'm thinking about most is these days trying to use the glutes. So that's something that I think about. Like when I'm starting to get tired, I think about that. And I focus on not focusing. So I try to focus on something in the distance and do like the 3D magic eye thing and just like lose focus and just kind of like be with the pace. And I do think about breathing, but I'm not focusing on it. I'm using it to establish a rhythm, so that's one of the things I think about. And then I guess the other kind of like simultaneous thing that I think about when I'm really pushing hard is, I guess maybe I'm doing it wrong because I'm like, don't think about all these things. It's like, don't think about the elephant kind of thing. But I try not to think about how like negative thoughts. Like, don't think about how this is tiring. Don't think about, just stop thinking, just go. So that's kind of like what I try to do. Yeah, like Mark Coco says, like I always end up thinking, OMG, can I keep this up? Exactly. So I'm trying to I try to ignore all those thoughts, Stevie 76, lose focus, run cross-eyed. There was a time where I used to like run just eyes closed, like on the lakefront trail. It's really smooth, really flat. And when I could see for a long way out, and if I know that no one's coming, sometimes I'll just close my eyes and run for a little while. Yeah. And then at least no one can see that I'm cross-eyed. Let's see. Matt Legrand said, I never think about breathing. It seems to take care of itself. I do think about form and staying relaxed. Oh yeah, I totally do look at something in the distance. Yeah. That helps me a lot. I do enjoy that. It's just kind of like, it becomes an anchor point to relax. It seems to weird. Like I need to tether to something to let go, but that's kind of what I think I'm doing. And Frank says, just listen to an audiobook. Yeah, that definitely helps for me, for sure. And Chris Dyke says, that's where music comes in. It can usually take you away from thinking about your current activity. That's another thing that I like to do. I'm always music on my workouts. Even if it's like a long run with a small workout portion, the whole time I'll use music for that day. So that's what I do. Jana says, I'm trying to focus on breathing in every pace. I found it's helping me to recover really quickly, like in between intervals or soon after the run. Interesting. Very cool. All right. Rainrunner says, it's weird. I never really breathe heavily in my runs, but my heart rate is higher than I'd think. Not sure if I just need to slow down even more or what, but I feel fine. Yeah. I mean, if you're feeling fine. All right. Yeah, Swap Meet Shop says, where'd it go? Swap Meet Shop says, you got this. Yeah, that's another one to keep yourself going too. New Veteran says, I started listening to podcasts on runs, especially long runs, music for intervals. Yeah, for me, for sure. I mean, I love the audiobooks. I love the podcasts on long runs. I think I prefer audiobooks for long runs because it will most certainly last longer than the run. And then for like my like kind of shorter, more regular runs, the podcasts are usually about the right length for like kind of what I do. Like it's for whatever reason, it seems like if I have like an hour long run, and it's like, it's annoying when a podcast ends like 50 minutes into the run. Because then I'm like, do I have the energy to start another podcast 10 minutes left into this run? Do I just run silent? Do I turn on music? I usually end up like turning on music at that point. Martha says, my nose is too stuffed sometimes to breathe only through the nose. Either because it's very cold or because it's in the morning, I had coffee, etc. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to be able to experiment more with nose breathing during the run, but at the same time, I'm like, I got a lot of things that I've kind of like reconfigured lately, and I need to make sure I'm on like a more solid footing. So right now, like breathing is like, here's a couple of things that I have that I feel like I'm confident with and I think work for me for now. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. But sometimes I do find myself to be a little bit congested too. But that usually clears up pretty quickly once I start running for me. Stevie76 says, do you think free divers would be good runners? I'm not sure. What was I reading? It was like I think it was in that How Bad Do You Want It book. It was by it wasn't Futterman, was it? Was it Fitzgerald? I'm not sure. That's the problem. I've listened to audiobooks, but the audiobooks are rarely read by the authors. And then when you know what the author's voice is and it's different than the book you listen to, it's hard to connect that author and the book. So I don't remember who wrote How Bad Do You Want It, but I think they talked about free divers a lot in that book. But they didn't talk about whether they would be good crossover athletes. How does one get into free diving anyway? I mean, I don't think it's like soccer, like runners and like, well, I was playing soccer, but the thing that I was best at was just running around and never getting tired. So the coach kicked me off the team and then I started running cross country. I don't think with free diving, it's like, well, I had good aerobic strength, but I was a terrible runner. So the coach told me to go free dive. So I don't know how they would get to there. I don't know. Yeah. Calvin Kwan says, my heart rate stays average during long runs, but legs slowing down and not matching effort at the end. I think that's normal. Yeah. I think that's kind of what happens because towards the end, as you get fatigued, the same level of exertion will result in less speed. So that's normal. Yeah. Frank, who you're saying it is Matt Fitzgerald. That's what I thought. He's got a pretty wide range of books that he's written. I mean, they're all regarding like running and endurance sports, but they kind of jump around a little bit. But yeah. Blixton says, I remember diving for metal rings in the public pool when I was a kid as a diving exercise. That's cool. That sounds like fun. I think I would like that. Janet thinks, oh, that's an interesting point. I guess freedivers would do good in higher altitudes as there's less oxygen. Maybe. YWK Yap says, besides running, you do crunches? I don't. I was thinking the other day, though, that I feel like my body was telling me that I need to do more core work. I think I was when I was doing those I think it was when I was doing some threshold repeats. Towards the end, I was just feeling like, oh, my abs are tired. Like my legs are feeling pretty good. Lungs are feeling pretty good, but my abs are like tender. And I was like, did I just sleep funny? What's going on here? I was like, I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, it's because I never do any core work. That's what's happening. So I think maybe it's time to start incorporating some of that. I don't know. It just seems like once you start doing some sort of like stretching / like strength routine, there's creep, like more and more things start getting added. And like my routine is like 5 minutes long, maybe 7 minutes long. But I feel like, oh, well, I can throw in a couple of these and I can couple a couple of those. I guess at some point I need to like maybe trim some out that I'm not using as much. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to do it. James Baker says, pulled the trigger on a pair of Triumph 18s today. Went with the Kofuzi black. That color is so good. I think the one that I really love, I mean, the black ones, those are the ones that I have. They have the gray outsole. It's nice. I really like that one. But the Triumph 17, I think, had the better design with the black upper and the gray midsole. That was nice. That was really nice. Phil Hartman says, about to crunch on D's chips. That's funny. Jana says, there are so many exercises much better than crunches. Core work is important. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I would necessarily do crunches, but, like I do feel like there's some core work that I'd like to do. If there was a way that I could do like a twofer, maybe do some core work with some glute activation, that would kind of speed things up. I'd be interested in that. Oh, now I have more things I'm gonna like YouTube and Google on YouTube, and who knows what the algorithm's gonna feed me once I start looking at that. But we'll see. We'll see. And where did it go? Ed Chan says, I'm too lazy to do 20 crunches. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird to say that, right? It's like, yeah, I'll go out and run. I'll go for a long run. But it's like, you want me to do crunches that take 30 seconds? Who's got the time? But Ben Y says, I do core work quite a lot. It makes me feel stronger while running. Yeah, that's what I mean, I think I need to do that. I think I need to maybe introduce a little bit here and there. Maybe it doesn't have to be every day, maybe. And just start. Because I'm doing nothing right now. So, Rain Runner says, what'd you think of Murakami's running book, Kofuzi? It was good. I really enjoyed it. There were times where it felt like a little bit kind of like authors, they're just like us. You know, like kind of thing. Because I was like, this sounds like a normal person's running journal at times. And so like, I really thought that I would leave it like, I'm like, oh, someone who's like an endurance athlete who's been working really hard at it for decades, and coming to kind of grips with like, you know, the change in their performance over time as they age, and like kind of dealing with that. I'm like, oh, this is potentially really interesting, written from the perspective of someone who is, you know, a talented writer, you know? And I think, I don't know, maybe it hit too close to home, but at the end I was just like, I don't love this. I wanted to, but I didn't love it. It was good. I recommend it. I recommend people listen to it, but it wasn't like, I thought it'd be like, oh, this is my favorite, but it wasn't my favorite. I think I would like to listen to it again though. I think I might listen to it a second time. Sean Marshall says, on a sincere note, which I don't partake in often, he says, I hope you engage with running in a healthy way this holiday season. Don't put too much stress on yourself. Running should relieve stress, not add. Oh, that's a good sentiment. That's a very good point. Great thing to mention. I mean, I'm talking about like adding core work and stuff, but you know, the whole point of it, so I can enjoy it more. You know, so yeah. Runner Dre says, I download free audiobooks from Libby. They have great books like Becoming by Michelle Obama. You'd have to be willing to wait a couple of weeks. I didn't know you can get that one for free. I'll have to look into that. All right, let's get a couple more, and then I gotta go for today. Siddharth Bose says, I was checking reviews for Skechers Speed Elite and noticed that apart from your first impression, you didn't publish any further videos regarding a 100-mile review, etc. Why so? I haven't run 100 miles in it. For a while, I wasn't running in it at all. I didn't bring it. I initially didn't bring it with me to Iowa from when we left Chicago for the summer. I do have it with me now. And one of the main reasons I'm not running a lot in it is because it's not to me, it's not a marathon shoe. I mean, maybe Meb Keflezighi can run a marathon in it. Maybe a pro runner could run a marathon in it. I don't think I could run a marathon in it. There's just not enough underfoot for me. There's not enough cushion. But it is a fast shoe and it's a very fun shoe to run in. But I have it now. So I plan on putting some more miles into it, but I don't have 100 miles in it. So that's why there is no 100-mile video. All right. Rigson said, quoting Murakami from his running book, I run in order to acquire a void. That's nice. I like that. I don't remember that from the book. See, that's why I think I need to re-listen to it. That's nice. I really enjoy that. Yeah, and Rain Runner says the same thing. I read it years ago and liked it, but might need to revisit it. Kofuzi. I'm more into running now than I was at the time. Do we have to have should we do a book club? Should we do that? I don't know. I've never been in a book club before. I don't know how it works.
Okay, I left that outside. We're going to have to bring it back in.
All right, so something to think about. But Scotty B says, Murakami's book didn't stick with me. I like Born to Run, Let Your Mind Run, 26 Marathons, North by Jurek, Ultra Marathon Man, and 80-20 Running. Yeah, you know, those some. I mean, I really like Born to Run a lot. I don't know if who wrote Let Your Mind Run? And I don't think I read 26 Marathons. I read Meb's other book. Right? That's a Kofuzi book, 26 Marathon, isn't it? So I've read some of those. But yeah. Corian says yes to the book club. I've always wanted to join one, but with all runners, that would be fun. Okay. And it says good book club would be good. All right. Well, maybe we could do a book club. We could do like once a week. We could talk about it. I mean, we got the live stream every day, so we could easily slot it in to one of the days. All right. All right. So I got 2 projects. I got to think about book club, and then I got to think about the running shoe bracket. We got to do that for the end of the year. I think we're going to put that on. Can you do a poll in Strava? I don't know if you can do a poll in Strava. If we can do a poll in Strava, we'll do it there. Otherwise, we might have to do it. Maybe we'll do it on YouTube. Maybe we'll do it on Twitter. I'm not sure. Probably on YouTube in a post, but we'll think about it. But we'll do both of those things. We'll figure it out. Stevie76 says, what's a book? That's funny. Oh, yeah. Castor's book, Let Your Mind Run by Dina Castor. I really enjoyed that book. That book was great. Really so many great insights on running, like really great like sound bites to it too. And her running journey was really just fascinating, and she had so much strength. So I was amazed by that. So yeah, I think we should do it. I mean, I think that I feel like a lot of us have probably read all these books, but I think we can all like look at them again if you've read it all already, or if you've read it already, then it's easy to participate in the book club. But I mean, I feel like with anything else, it'll still be like open enough in terms of our live streams. We'll kind of touch base on whatever. So maybe we'll do that. So maybe we'll start with Murakami, since that's where we went. So, all right, something to think about. Cool. All right, I'm going to leave it there for today, everybody. That was awesome. I had a really good time today. Tomorrow's video is going to be about I ran in the Torin 4.5. I don't know if tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to make a video about it for tomorrow. I didn't really get along with it this morning, so I think it might need a second run before I can do it. So if there's a video tomorrow, it'll be about the Torin 4.5 plush, or there might not be a video tomorrow. I'm not sure yet, but either way, I'll have a live stream in the afternoon. So hopefully I'll see you guys then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody.